It's time for our daily dose of cope, and we have Lila Swift out in the field reporting on the many faces that are being eaten. We're going to go ahead and jump right into these stories. This woman named Mercy Moya wrote on a comment to Donald Trump on his Facebook page. She says, "I wasn't born with a silver spoon. I was eating beans, tortillas, and chili. I worked my whole life and lived in poverty because I paid religiously for Social Security on each paycheck I earned. Now I'm old enough to receive my benefits. I'm able to have meals I buy and cook at home, and now I have to pay the government to use the money I saved throughout my life to use it. What? Is that stingy of the president? I'm sad that we became an enemy of the president, but I'm happy about getting the criminal element out of our lives. I voted for this man and I'm hot and cold on this president." I think she's mad, but I'm not exactly sure. She says I'm happy about getting the criminal element out of our lives. But you didn't. You voted in a criminal who pardons criminals. These people are confusing to me because they know that something's wrong. They just won't completely blame Trump. They're not ready just yet. Even though she knows that she is the enemy now of Donald Trump because she is a little person that doesn't matter anymore. So she is going to be crushed like the rest of poor MAGA and unhealthy MAGA, farmers for MAGA, all of these people. Speaking of farmers for MAGA, y'all should know by now that I think that farmers for MAGA are the stupidest demographic. They have gotten screwed at least four different ways. Because at first I was saying 3 different ways, but people brought it to my attention about cutting funding for U.S. aid and the way they stripped grants for the food banks and the schools. So that's way number 1. Tariffs are way number 2. The trade war, so other countries don't want to buy our goods from here, is way number 3. And then the 4th way is the way that Trump is running off their labor. So I believe that farmers for Trump are some of the dumbest voters in America. But we can continue to debate back and forth. But I am saying farmers for Trump are the dumbest. That leads me to this article from Newsweek. It's the worst time to be an American farmer in decades, despite the fact that they voted for Donald Trump, so they brought this on themselves. America's farmers are locked in a generational crisis, fending off an array of threats that could jeopardize food supplies and spell financial disaster for those often hailed as the backbone of the nation. They are certainly not the brains of the nation, because I believe that they are dumb. They love their way of life and they love that dirt, Donald Trump said this week in a somewhat oft-pissed response to a question on the importance of farmers. They don't know how to do anything else, but they don't want to do anything else. But the current storm of rising debt, declining commodity prices, and labor shortfalls has begun to echo the great farm crisis of the 80s and may be testing the love farmers hold for their profession. Farm sector debt is expected to reach a record $561.8 billion in 2025, according to data from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, up 3.7% from 2024. The Kansas City Federal Reserve has attributed this primarily to increased lending for small and mid-sized farms. This growing financial pressure has also pushed up bankruptcies. Researchers at the University of Arkansas recently found that Chapter 12 filings specifically for farmers and family fishermen reached 88 in the first quarter of the year, nearly doubling the previous year's figures. Bankruptcies are on the rise, and you will see many more on the auction block in the coming months, especially this fall, said John Boyd, a crop and livestock farmer and founder of the National Black Farmers Association. Tariffs putting pressure on crop prices. Boyd has been farming since the early 80s, currently growing soybeans, corn, and wheat across 1,500 acres in Virginia, while raising 150 head of beef cattle. He told Newsweek that 2025 marked the first time in his career that he was unable to receive an operating loan, which provides farmers working capital needed to cover daily expenses, and blamed this on trade policies of the current administration. "I was turned down by banks for the simple fact of low commodity prices due to the president's tariffs." Higher costs for foreign importers have dampened foreign demand, leading to further reductions in the price of America's agriculture exports. Corn futures, as an example, have fallen about 15% since the start of the year, according to Trading Economics. Mexico buys U.S. corn. China buys soybeans, Boyd said. We cannot survive on low crop prices with input costs at an all-time high. I have not seen such political chaos like this, and I have been farming since 1983. A May survey by Purdue University found that a strong majority, 70% of U.S. farmers believe Trump's tariffs will strengthen U.S. agriculture, some telling Investigate Midwest that they will help the U.S. pressure China to boost its imports. 70% of U.S. farmers. So the farmers are in the thick of it. And so these farmers still think that this is going to help. That's the reason why I say that this is the dumbest demographic of people for Trump. But according to Caleb Ragland, president of the American Soybean Association, the tit-for-tat trade war, which is still not giving way to a full-fledged deal, despite several weeks of negotiation, could see American soybean farmers lose out on this critical market. I'm going to skip some of this down to the bottom. Consequences of America's latest farm crisis. For the consumers, the struggles of American farmers in 2025 are beyond simply a rural community crisis and carry direct repercussions at the checkout line and dinner table. When our farmers face persistent challenges, the broader consequences can include higher food prices, fewer choices at the grocery store, and reduced access to a variety and quality of food Americans have come to expect. Please keep that in mind. When you go to the grocery store, see if you see spots where things are missing that used to be there. I'm already seeing missing things in my local grocery store. So report back. And these are all unforced errors. The trade war and the tariffs have exacerbated things. Running off labor by Donald Trump has exacerbated things. But this is what people voted for. And all of us are going to feel lighter in the pockets in our bank accounts, and we're going to have less options for food. So this post was sent to me. She says, my mom and brother voted for Trump. I think she wanted to say, based on context, I would not call my brother MAGA. He is just forever conservative and would never vote for a Democrat. My mom is MAGA. That's the reason why I think she says that he's not MAGA. He's just not voting for a Democrat. Okay, let's continue. I talk to my brother every week, and all during the Biden administration, he would tell me all about his company's acquisitions and mergers and how he was getting company stock for bonuses, etc. I'm very proud of my brother. He's incredibly intelligent and works very hard. He is the lead accountant for a huge auto parts company. She continues, in the last few months, my brother has spoken with me less and less about how great things are going with his company. And then the other day, we were talking about my mom, and she said to him, so proud of our president. I replied with much disdain, proud about what? And my brother responded, I have no idea. This honestly surprised me. Do I think that my brother would ever turn the corner and become a Democrat? Ha, never. Being a conservative is part of his identity. But based on what I know about my brother, he's as disgusted by Trump and his administration as any normal human being should. I think he thought Trump did okay his first term. I know, oh my God, and did not think his second term would completely destroy the country and economy. My brother is a smart man, not sure why he thought Trump was a good president in any capacity, but at least I feel assured that he knows what's really going on. He voted for Trump. Trump, who said that he was going to put tariffs on. He works for a company that probably imports things. I do not believe that this man is as intelligent and smart as this author is saying. This person at the bottom says, in my honest opinion, you can't be a conservative and be a Trump fan. Nothing he is doing is conservative. It's radical deconstruction of our federal government. I'm going to end with this Facebook post from Donnie. He says, I'm really struggling to see how Trump is helping the United States. I understand the tariffs, but I haven't seen any benefit from it. Just more money out of my pocket, and the economy in general isn't much better, and I voted for Trump, so I did believe in the guy. The fact that he says, I understand the tariffs but haven't seen any benefit tells me that he is dumb, that these people know nothing. And that's the reason why their faces are
happened.
And I only say good things about him and his country, so if they censor me, you're making a mistake. I'm going to give my ambassador the job, make sure it's not censored. I had not heard that. I can say it right now, our country has never done better. We had a country that was dead. It was dead 6 months ago, a year ago. Leaders from NATO, we had a very successful meeting at NATO. Your prime minister was there. It was an unbelievable love fest with all of those countries. And they agreed to go 5% and all the things. Very smart to do. But many of the leaders said, you know, essentially, they said, your country was dead 1 year ago. 1 year ago, we had a dead, and we did. We had a dead country. We had a president who didn't know where the hell he was.
Happened.
And